Zain was the kind of guy who lived for speed. A night rider by passion, he often took his bike out on long roads just to clear his mind. The louder the engine roared, the quieter his thoughts became. But tonight wasn't about passion. It was about getting home, fast. His cousin's wedding had dragged on longer than expected. He had told his mother he'd be home by 11:30. It was now 12:17 a.m. Still wearing a thin formal suit under his jacket, Zain rode fast through unfamiliar territory. A diversion on the highway had led him into some remote countryside. His phone vibrated. Route updated, suggesting faster shortcut, Chinar Path. He paused at the intersection. There was no light on the road, no cars behind him, just a broken sign barely readable in the dark, pointing left. Chinar Path. He looked at the battery, 28%. Enough to get home. He turned. The road narrowed sharply and dipped into darkness. Trees leaned over it, their branches forming a shadowy tunnel. At first, Zain felt okay, but then about 5 minutes in, he noticed something. He hadn't passed a single house. No lights, no dogs barking, no wind, just the low growl of his bike echoing in a world that had gone silent. Then, movement. To his right, deep in the trees, he saw something tall and white, moving without sound. He turned his head quickly. Nothing. He chuckled nervously. Okay, that was weird, but something wasn't right. He looked around. The trees were changing. They were taller, thicker, and completely leafless now, as if it were the middle of winter. The moon had disappeared behind clouds. The air became biting cold. Zain pulled his jacket tighter, trying to shake the chill. Then came the smell. Burnt wood. Then rot. Like wet dead leaves or something worse. He glanced at his phone. GPS had crashed. Screen black. Suddenly, crack. A loud branch snapped somewhere nearby. He hit the brakes. Then silence again. Okay, let's get the hell out of here, he muttered, revving the engine. As he rode deeper, the smooth asphalt slowly turned into cobblestone, old, uneven, and cracking. His bike jolted violently. The tires slipped on slick, damp stone. What road even looked like this anymore? He passed an old, moss-covered milestone. The numbers were worn off. Then up ahead, a shape in the road. A man, just standing there. Zain slowed the bike. He honked. No reaction. The man slowly lifted his head. And Zain saw it. He had no face, no eyes, no nose, just smooth, pale skin. Then the figure tilted its head to the left, a sharp, inhuman jerk, and began gliding toward him, not walking. Zain panicked. He twisted the throttle and sped past him, but the smell followed. He looked in his mirror. The man was gone, no trace. Zain didn't stop, not now. He rode faster and faster. Trees passed in a blur until he was back where he started. Same spot, same broken sign. What the hell? He turned again, this time faster. He tried to memorize the turns, count the trees, anything, but it didn't matter. Each time, he ended up in the same place. And now there were more of them. Not just one faceless man, two, then three, standing by the road, watching, unmoving. Each time he passed, they were closer. Then, he crashed. The cobblestone beneath him cracked sharply, and he lost control. His bike slid into the dirt. He rolled onto his back, dazed. When he opened his eyes, there was no road, no sky, just a gray mist. He was lying on a patch of ground surrounded by leafless trees, and in a perfect circle around him were 7 faceless figures, all standing, all staring. Then one of them stepped forward and whispered, "You were never going home." Suddenly, he was back on his bike, riding, just like before. Same stretch, same road, everything exactly as it had been. But this time, he remembered, and he screamed, because now he knew he was caught in the loop. He'd taken a road that didn't exist, and he would ride it forever. Narration outro line for YouTube ending. Some roads don't appear on maps for a reason, and if your GPS ever shows Chinar Path, don't follow it, because once you enter, you'll never leave. If that story gave you chills, make sure to hit the like button, share it with a fellow horror fan, and subscribe with notifications on. We bring you true, spine-tingling stories every week, and trust me, the next one is even more disturbing. Haider wasn't a thrill seeker. He wasn't the kind of guy who went looking for haunted places or chased urban legends. He kept his head down, worked hard, stayed respectful, and avoided anything paranormal. But fear has a way of finding you. It was a Thursday night. Haider had just finished a 12-hour shift at a petrol pump on the edge of town. His phone buzzed. His father's health had suddenly worsened, and his younger brother was home alone, panicking. Without even changing clothes, Haider grabbed his helmet, started his bike, and began racing toward his village, nearly 45 kilometers away. It was past 12:45 a.m. when he took the less traveled road through the forest. He'd done it before. It was quicker. But tonight, nothing felt normal. The clouds above had smothered the moonlight, casting everything in thick, dull gray. The road was unusually empty, even for that hour. The only sound was the humming engine and the occasional flutter of wind in the leaves. Then about 10 minutes in, it appeared. A road sign, tilted, rusted, dead man's turn, slow down. Haider slowed just a little, blinking hard. He'd never seen that sign before, and he'd ridden this road dozens of times. He told himself it must have been newly installed or a joke, and kept going. But then, another sign, painted in smeared red letters, "You should not be here." This one was hanging from a tree, swinging slightly in the windless air. Haider's fingers clenched around the handlebar. He stopped his bike and turned on his mobile flashlight. The forest around him was utterly still. No crickets, no owls, no animals, just silence. And his flashlight began to flicker. For a second, he thought he saw a shape in the woods, tall, dark, unmoving, but it vanished. He shut off the flashlight and kicked the bike into gear, determined to keep going. Soon, another sign appeared, this one larger, planted directly in the center of the road. "Turn around, last chance." The paint looked fresh, still dripping. Haider slowed down, heart pounding. His instincts screamed to turn back, but something deeper inside, curiosity, perhaps pride, forced him forward. And then he passed the same sign again. Same shape, same paint drip, same tree. He had gone straight, yet somehow he was back. He looked behind him. Nothing. In front, the same endless trees. Haider's throat went dry. He accelerated, trying to outpace the creeping terror. Then came the next sign. "You're being watched." His eyes flicked to the side mirror. Something was behind him. A human-shaped figure, barefoot, head down. But it wasn't running. It was gliding, smoothly, silently, and with every turn of the wheel, it got closer. Haider's body began to tremble. The road beneath him now cracked violently. The air felt heavier, thicker, like he was breathing underwater. His phone had died. His watch had stopped. Then his bike stopped. Completely. The engine didn't stall. It was like it froze. Haider jumped off and looked around. Now every tree around him had a sign nailed to it. Different words, same horror. "Too late, he's here. No way out." And then he heard it, breathing. But it wasn't his own. It was wet, slow, deep. He turned slowly and saw the figure again. Only now it was standing just a few feet away. It had no eyes, no mouth. Its skin was black but not painted. It pulsed, like it was alive. It raised a long, trembling finger and pointed at Haider, and a voice echoed, not in the air but inside his skull. "You were warned." Haider stumbled back and everything went dark. He woke up lying on the same road. Morning had come, birds chirped, the air was warm again. His bike stood upright like it had never stopped. His clothes were clean, his helmet intact. For a moment, he thought it was all a dream, but then he saw it. A sign, rusty, tilted, just like before. "Dead man's turn, only this time." His name was painted underneath it. Haider Malik, 1:13 a.m., his exact name, his exact time. Narration outro. Some roads aren't on maps for a reason. Some warnings aren't meant for the world. They're meant for you. So next time you see a strange sign on a road you know too well, turn around before it's too late. Ali had always loved night rides. For him, there was nothing more freeing than the open road, a cold breeze brushing past his helmet and the rumble of his bike beneath him. It gave him peace, solitude. But peace can sometimes deceive you, and solitude can betray you. That night, after hanging out with a few friends on the far side of the city, Ali decided to take a different way home, an older, longer route. It curved through dense trees and crossed an abandoned railway and an old bridge locals claimed was not right. But he didn't believe in those kinds of stories. Not then. He took off into the night, the engine humming, streetlights growing fewer and fewer as he entered the dark stretch. About 10 minutes in, Ali noticed something strange. No sound except his own engine. No crickets, no owls, not even the wind. He felt like he was gliding through a vacuum. He tightened his grip on the handlebar and told himself it was just his imagination. But something inside him had already started whispering, "Turn back." He ignored it. As he passed the old railway crossing, he noticed the broken warning lights were blinking, though no train had run on those tracks in years. A red glow washed over his bike for a moment, then faded. He looked in his rearview mirror, just trees and darkness. But his heart skipped a beat when, for a second, he thought he saw movement. Something white, a figure, watching. But when he looked back, there was nothing. Still, the unease was growing. Soon, he reached a narrow, rusted metal bridge, barely wide enough for a car. It creaked as he rode onto it, and halfway across, his headlight began to flicker, then died. The engine stalled, complete silence. Ali's breath became visible in the cold air. He tried to start the bike again. Once, twice, third time, nothing. And then, footsteps. Slow, crunching, dragging, from behind him. He turned, no one. And then, a whisper. Not outside, but inside his helmet. "You shouldn't have come here." Ali jumped, his hands trembled. He quickly dismounted and tried to push the bike off the bridge, but the metal groaned under him like something was moving underneath. He looked over the edge, only fog. He couldn't even see the river below. Then he saw it again, this time in front of him. A woman. Pale, so pale, she almost glowed. Standing at the far end of the bridge, she wasn't moving, just staring. He shouted, but she didn't respond. He blinked. She was closer. Another blink, closer still. He turned back to his bike, started it in a panic. And this time, it roared to life. He didn't look back. He sped forward past where she had been standing and kept going as fast as he could. Trees blurred past him, the road curved and then straightened into the same bridge. He blinked hard. Had he turned around? No, that wasn't possible. He'd gone straight. He passed the same railway lights, blinking red, the same trees, the same sharp turn. He was trapped. Again, he crossed the bridge, and again she was there. This time, her face was clearer, eyes black like ink, mouth slightly open, whispering something silently. Her head tilted, jerking with unnatural movements, like she was glitching. He closed his eyes and sped past, but her whisper followed. "You're already dead." He opened his eyes, his speedometer read 0. The bike wasn't moving. He was frozen in place, staring down the same bridge, but now it stretched endlessly into fog. He looked behind him, nothing. Then he looked at his mirror and finally saw it. The real horror. He was still sitting at the center of the bridge, his real body. Slumped over, eyes open, still. He looked down at himself. There was no shadow. Ali screamed, but no sound came out. He was no longer alive, or at least, not in the way we understand. He had been stuck ever since the first time he crossed that bridge. His final ride had already happened. Now he just relived it. Again and again and again. They say if you ever ride that old road at night, your headlight might flicker too. And if it does, don't stop. Because Ali's not the only one who's trapped there now. And the next time, it might be your final ride.